So Monty has asked me to tell the story of how I came to God. Our story begins with 46 years of atheism, during which I was happy to debate any fool who believed in the existence of the divine. Essentially, I believed that the universe was just billiard balls clacking endlessly down the eons in a meaningless chain of cause and effect, and that the only meaning in the universe was whatever meaning I could create by holding up my little candle of light in the darkness for my moment's existence on this earth. But after 46 years, I found myself driving down an empty highway alone in my car. And I burst into tears, and I asked God into my heart, what happened? To an observer, I was just driving down the road. But what got me was, of all things, a play on the Clinton re-election slogan, "It's the economy, stupid." What got me in that moment was, it's all one, stupid. I was feeling the connection of everything to everything and myself to everything. And I was feeling the illusion of my own ego. There is a lovely line that if you scratch a cynic, underneath you will find a wounded romantic. And I will tell you that if you scratch an atheist, underneath you will find somebody afraid to hope. There was no hope in the universe, and you couldn't fool me. I was simply going to gut it out. But in that moment in the car, I decided to let in hope. Not hope that I would be playing a harp on a cloud someday, not hope in my own individual continuation, but hope that there was some meaning to this universe, that there is a purpose to this universe, and ultimately, behind it all, hope that there is a loving God. So that's what got me. And the interesting postscript to all of this is that 3 weeks later, I was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia and given less than 30 days to live. So there's another lovely line. There are no atheists in foxholes. And the beauty of this is that the Lord gave me the chance to come to Him on my own terms instead of crawling in the middle of a bombardment. And of course I have no illusions about who really came to whom, but it was a gift. So how has my spirituality manifested since then? I found myself in a hospital bed, dying, and I knew that there was a connection between my finding God and my suddenly being struck down with a seemingly terminal illness. So I never prayed to be healed because I knew that that was my fight and I needed to get through it. But I did pray for 4 specific clinical outcomes. And I got all 4. Collectively, my doctors told me that getting all 4 of those outcomes was far less than 1 in a million chance, and they called me a miracle patient. But a year after my diagnosis, I walked out of the hospital. That was in 2005, and I have been absolutely cancer-free in the decade since. My spirituality really was grounded in that moment in the car, but what came up during that year in the hospital bed was that a book that I had mocked, that my mother had given me by a channeled soul, very strangely manifested itself on my bedside table, and I cannot tell you to this day how it got there. But it was a book written purportedly by a soul being channeled, and the text is in prose poetry, and it was so beautiful and so moving that I could never read more than 2 pages because I just burst into tears and would start to sob, because what it said just so beautifully resonated with my soul. And I cannot say that what was in that book is true or not. I can only say that it is such a beautiful view of the world that I choose to believe it. And that worldview is that we are all part of the whole, that we are all children of God, that there are an infinite number of roads to God's love, be it Muslim or Christian or Buddhist or Zoroastrian, and that we are all souls down here in school, learning to be better pieces of God. And if I could give an analogy, I would say this. It is famously said that fish do not understand water because all they have is water. They just live in that sea. And every account of near death talks about the incredible sense of unconditional love on the other side. So if you're a fish swimming in that unconditional love, how can you know love? So I believe that I'm down here as a child of God to learn to appreciate the distinction, love, to know what it means to not be loved, to know what it means to experience life without love, and to know what it means to be loved. I hope this is helpful. God bless you all.